Welcome to East Alabama Today, featuring topics, events, and interesting people from all over East Alabama. Hosted by Carl Brady. Now, let's get right to the show. Here's Carl Brady.
Welcome back into East Alabama Today. I'm Carl Brady. Thanks for joining us on today's program. As always, we'll start you off with a little contact information, let you know how to get in touch with us here on the show. If you have an idea for the program, we would love to hear from you. And of course, you guys are our eyes and ears out on the street. And we're always looking for the events and things that are happening in your neck of the woods throughout the East Alabama community. Fairs, festivals, special events, things that are going on with your civic club or organization. We are always looking for fun things that are going on to talk about here on East Alabama Today. So let me know about what's going on by sending me an email. cbrady@tv24.tv is my email address, and all you have to do is shoot me a quick email. Let me know what's going on and some contact information for the right people to talk to. And you never know, you may find your program or your event featured here on East Alabama Today. We're also looking for the interesting people who live in the community. Writers, artists, musicians, people with odd or interesting hobbies or jobs, and folks you'd think would be a great, interesting guest for the program. That's who we're looking for. So send me information about those folks as well at cbrady@tv24.tv. And remember, if you happen to miss an episode of East Alabama Today, you can view those on demand at tv24.tv. On the on-demand section of the website, just go to the website, click on demand, and then choose East Alabama Today, and you can go back and watch shows from the past few weeks right there in the convenience of your computer online. And we've got a great show coming up for you today, so be sure to hang out with us, stay around for a few minutes, and we'll be back in just a moment. Hello, everyone. Welcome back into East Alabama Today. As I said, we've got an interesting show for you today as we talk a little bit about the history of one of East Alabama's most iconic manufacturing plants, and that is the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company plant in Gadsden, celebrating their 85th anniversary here in Gadsden. And we have with us Jackie Edmondson, who is the communications manager. Jackie, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
And a big year for Goodyear, 85 years strong, and a lot of stuff going to be going on to celebrate the 85th anniversary. You've already had a retirees dinner and a reunion for a bunch of the retirees. But let's dig into the history of Goodyear. 85 years in this community, that gives it a major impact because it's not just a Gadsden business or an Etowah County business. Goodyear has a widespread regional impact on this area.
Yeah, you're right, Carl. Everybody has some sort of connection with Goodyear. You can run into anybody and they have an aunt, an uncle, a father, a brother who has worked at the Goodyear plant. Lots of children have been put through college because of the Goodyear plant. Lots of people have bought homes and have lived very fulfilling lives thanks to the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company plant here in Gadsden.
Right, and I have my own connection being a Goodyear kid myself. My dad worked at Goodyear for 28 years as a Goodyear retiree, so very familiar with growing up in a Goodyear family, as so many other people in this area are. And Goodyear, talking about it being a regional draw, nowadays it's not that unusual to drive 20, 30, 40, 60 miles to work your job, to get to work every day. But back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, you didn't do that, but people did do that to work at Goodyear. People would come from miles away. People who lived miles away would drive all the way into Goodyear for a job.
We actually have 21 counties represented at Goodyear.
Wow.
So now, the large majority, 70%, are from right here in Etowah County, with 19% being from Northeast Alabama, Calhoun, Blount, those counties. But 21 Alabama counties are represented at Goodyear.
That is absolutely crazy. That's a huge draw. Let's go back to the 1920s. Goodyear, a successful tire company, but still in the 1920s, not a big demand for tires. How did we end up with a tire manufacturing plant here in Northeast Alabama?
Well, we were lucky that we had a CEO that liked to travel. And Paul Litchfield took a trip through the Appalachian Trail and found his way to Sand Mountain and met several families, farming families, who were very concerned that their children were having to move away for gainful employment, or they were going to stay in the farming business and struggle to make ends meet. So when Sears and Roebuck came to Goodyear and said, hey, we need a tire manufacturing facility in the South that can stock our stores with your tires. At that time, we only had a plant in Akron, Ohio, and in Los Angeles, California. So tires had to come a long way to get to Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi. So when Sears and Roebuck made that request, Mr. Litchfield immediately thought about those families that he met on his trip, and he got our Vice President Cliff Slusser, and he said, hey, take a group to this little Northeast Alabama community and see what we can do about putting a tire plant there, but also stop by Atlanta and just check them out as well. So we came down here with a team of engineers and architects and business-minded folks, and met with our local Chamber of Commerce, City Council, County Commission. And he made the decision that because we had a lot of manpower, we had good waterways, we had a good, strong railroad system, and we had lots of land and lots of people who really wanted to work. Mm-hmm. So December 13th, 1928, at the Print Up Hotel, he made the announcement that they were going to, in fact, come to Gadsden.
Wow. And it only took 4 months to build the whole plant?
4 months to build the entire plant. Yeah. And then in 1930, we expanded. I mean, it just grew tremendously over the next several years after we were built that in 1929.
Compare with today, those early days of tire production to what we see production-wise going on today?
Well, on the first day that we built the tires, we built 4 tires the first day that we opened, June 21st, 1929. Took us several weeks to even get to 300 tires a day. Now we make 20,600 tires a day. And the process has changed a little. We still have some equipment that was put in there in 1929 that we've maintained and we continue to use, like some of our banberries that mix our rubber. But we also have brand new equipment that came as a part of the modernization project in 2010, and it's fully automated tire building equipment.
Wow.
So, while we have a lot of processes that are still the same, we have seen many advances, not only in our production process, but also in our product.
And it would be amazing to see some of that automated equipment. I did have the privilege of going into the plant and spending the day touring the plant with my dad back in the 80s when I was a senior in high school, and seeing the process of the rubber being mixed and made, and how a tire doesn't really look like a tire until it gets to the final curing process and in the presses, and then it comes out looking like a tire. That was amazing, and I remember what a hard job the tire building process was. The guys who worked on the line of actually putting the layers of rubber and stuff together, that was a very difficult job.
We still have we have, of course, many people who work very hard in our plant, and our tire builders are very skilled. They know their job. They take a lot of pride in their job. They build every tire thinking, this tire could go on the car of somebody I love.
Right.
So they take their jobs very, very seriously.
I did not know the connection with Sears and Roebuck, that Sears was the impetus for having a plant come into the area. They must have been having a huge demand for tires in the late 20s at that point in time.
We, not only were we the first tire plant in Alabama, but we were also the first tire plant in the entire South. And right now, we're the oldest Goodyear facility in North America as well.
Wow. And let's take a look at some pictures. You brought along some pictures, and these will need some explanation. You can describe who they are for us and kind of give us an idea of what we're looking at with these pictures.
Okay, that's in 1976 when we broke ground for the biggest expansion that we have. We added the radial tire plant. There is Jack Ray standing there at the groundbreaking. If you look close, there's also Steve Means, and Ernie Hayes was our union president at the time. But that was huge for us. Our payroll increased with that expansion by $10 million that year.
Yeah, and that was the increase, the radial tire plant, which is the modern facility that you actually see when you drive past on Megan Boulevard now, that the building out front. And you'll see some pictures of the original Goodyear building that you can't see from the road anymore, with the exception of the clock tower, which is an iconic thing we'll talk about all in itself.
So this is our plant manager is Stanley Mihalik, and this is our very first radial tire that was cured in March of 1978. That is the very first tire ever built.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
Yep.
and it's being built by Frank Steele. He's there in the middle. He was our very first plant manager. He came from Ohio. He was a tire expert. He stayed here for several years, but he is right there is building our very first tire.
And that's what I was talking about. It doesn't look like a tire until it gets into the final curing
right.
process. It's just a big cylinder of rubber until it gets into the curing presses, and that's where it gets its tread and all the other stuff that goes along with it.
And that's the first truckload that went to Atlanta, and you see on the side of our trucks we put, of course, we encourage other industries to come to our fair city of Gadsden, Alabama. That is opening day in 1929. The flags that you see there are Allied forces, and we also had facilities in many of those countries. That would be for our opening ceremony in July of 1929. Reportedly, 30,000 people showed up.
Oh, wow.
And from all over Alabama and Georgia. There on the left is Cliff Slusser, and then in the middle is Bibb Graves, Governor Bibb Graves, and then is Paul Litchfield.
And those are names that people throughout this community, we recognize the name Slusser, we recognize the name Litchfield, and of course Bibb Graves being a former governor, but may not have made the connection between Litchfield and Slusser. There's a Slusser Avenue, there's a Litchfield Avenue, the Litchfield School, and and their names are on buildings and streets around town, but may not have made the connection that they were connected with Goodyear in those early days.
So that is our iconic clock tower that you still see from the road. It actually still works. It's actually going to be featured in a book by a professor at Talladega University because we are one of the few existing privately owned clock towers.
Wow.
So, but one of our favorite stories, and it may be a legend, we don't know if it's true or not, but we just love the story, is that on opening day, Herbert Hoover, the President of the United States, pushed a button on his desk, and a telegraphic wire pulse sent the flag shooting to the top of the clock tower. And according to the Gadsden Times, everyone erupted in cheers.
That's an amazing story, and that is an iconic thing, not just for the Goodyear plant in Gadsden, but has become an iconic figure for the entire Goodyear company. Now, did all the plants have the clock towers originally?
They did originally, right, and ours exists, and I think the one in Akron still exists.
And so that's something, when you see that, you always think of Goodyear. I know many years that the clock didn't work, but the clock now works again, doesn't it? Yeah.
It does. And that, of course, is what our plant looks like today. And you see right in the middle, you'll see the clock tower sticking up, and that's where we started from. And now we have 2.8 million square feet under roof.
Wow. And that's even I see there's the cover of the walkway is not there. Some of those things. So that there's even been changes, and where the golf course is over on the left over there is now where they're building the new shopping complex where Gander Mountain just opened. But that's an amazing amount of growth for a company like that.
Well, that's Sid. Sid Richardson, the legend.
Yeah, and Sid is the longest serving Goodyear employee in the entire Goodyear organization, and he works at the Gadsden plant, right?
He does, and he will be with us 71 years in June.
Wow.
So he still works every day. He still drives his forklift, and he's a wonderful man. He's so interesting. When he was first hired, we didn't even have the union.
Yeah.
So he's quite a character.
Just another view of the plant from a different angle there in the clock tower. And I think that's the last one we have there. So with that, we will take a quick commercial break and come back and talk more about the 85th anniversary celebration of Goodyear in Gadsden. Stay with us. Welcome back to East Alabama Today. Jackie Edmondson with Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company in Gadsden is our guest, and we're talking about the 85th anniversary celebration coming up in June. The Goodyear plant here in Gadsden will celebrate 85 years as being a part of this community, and there's no telling how many. Have you added up the number of people that have worked at Goodyear over those 85 years?
Oh gosh, there is no telling. No telling how many. I mean, just in retirees alone, we have 2,200 retirees.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even guess. Thousands.
Thousands upon thousands. Yeah, you're right. What's the staffing level right now? How many associates do you have right now?
We're at 1,500 hourly and salaried employees. We are, people as people retire, we hire to replace them. So we have been able to hire some people this year. We are putting in some new tire equipment, which will be a few additional jobs as well.
What kind of tires are being made in Goodyear? When I go out and buy tires to put on my car, which ones were made here in the Goodyear plant?
Well, we make tires for the replacement market, as well as for original equipment for Chrysler and Ford, and we do passenger tires as well as radial light truck tires. 78% of what we make are Goodyear branded tires, but we also make Dunlop and Kelly tires. And we're very proud that we recently, on April 17th, announced that we are one of 2 plants that are making the new Assurance all-season tire. It's a mid-tier touring commuter tire, and it's made such an impact on the dealers who it was introduced to them in January that they have already placed orders, and these tires aren't even available till July.
Oh wow!
And so we're really excited that we're a big part of this new tire line that Goodyear's putting out. We're also making what they call the All-Terrain Adventure, which is part of our Wrangler tire line. And it is durable. It's got Kevlar in it.
Oh, wow.
It's an amazing tire. As a matter of fact, Tire Rack consumers just ranked it #1 out of all the tires. And Tire Rack sells Goodyear, Bridgestone, Firestone, Michelin, and #1 was the All-Terrain Adventure. We are also making those tires for the 2015 Ford F-150. The Gadsden plant is Goodyear's exclusive OE supplier for that vehicle. And as you know, the Ford F-150 is the #1 selling truck. And we want our tires on it. So we're excited about that. And we're so excited that Gadsden is playing a huge part in that.
Yeah, and Goodyear still, all these years later, Goodyear's still innovating in tire technology. The reason we have rubber tires that we have on our vehicles is because of Goodyear and the process that was developed by Goodyear of mixing the materials to make the rubber and the vulcanization and all those kind of things. That all came from Goodyear. They're the reason we have tires.
Yes. We have a very long history. As a matter of fact, the company is named after Charles Goodyear, who actually died a pauper.
Oh, wow.
He did not actually get to see that his discovery has grown to what it is today. He has no idea. He died in debt.
Wow. And I can't imagine the number of tires that we must go through in this country for this one plant to be producing more than 20,000 tires a day. And there are numerous Goodyear plants. There are numerous other companies that are making tires and selling tires. I can't imagine how many tires we must be going through every day in this country.
It's pretty incredible, and of course tire sales, whatever the economy is doing, tire sales is doing as well. And we've seen a huge increase in our sales. And for the first time, North American Tire within the Goodyear company, we're profitable. We're doing very well. We are making a big difference in our company's bottom line.
Absolutely, that's good. Let's talk about racing tires a little bit. Goodyear Gadsden plant, if my understanding is correct, has a little bit of a history with NASCAR and racing. Didn't some of the racing tires made in Goodyear for a long time, in the Gadsden plant for a while?
They're not made in our plant.
They're not played now,
right.
But at one time they were, weren't they?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
They're made in Akron at our Innovation Center. Of course, as everyone knows, NASCAR exclusively uses Goodyear, which is huge for us, because they're spectators of the sport. They love Goodyear, so they go out and buy them.
See those logos on every tire that drives by.
That's right.
Even at 200 miles an hour. What's the future hold for Goodyear? How are things looking for Goodyear in the community?
I think that things are going great at our plant. We are meeting all of our goals, our production goals, our cost goals, our safety goals. We're doing very, very well in all aspects. That hasn't always been that way, but we have seen a huge upswing in what we're doing as far as the successes in our plant. I don't see us going anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
that's always good news for the community.
Right.
And we're running short on time, but I want to work this in. When we talk about the impact that the Goodyear plant has had on the community, we talked about jobs and things like that. But the Goodyear employees, the associates, have a huge impact on the community with supporting the United Way, supporting the community, getting out in the community and working and volunteering. And you guys really promote that within the ranks.
We do. We're very proud of our employees because not only do they give, but they're doers. They go out to Smith Institute and they help with the tornado destruction out there, and they are city councilmen, they're preachers, they're Boy Scout troop leaders, they coach little league ball, and so we feel like we're good corporate citizens, but we also feel like the people who work with us, they are as well. They're very, very giving, wonderful people.
Well, Jackie, we need to take another quick break, so we'll do that. Come back with a quick wrap up in just a moment. Hang with us. Welcome back in our final segment of East Alabama Today. Today, Jackie Edmondson has been our guest, communications manager with the Goodyear tire plant in Gadsden. And if people want to know more about the Goodyear anniversary and some of the things you have going on, you guys have a Facebook page. That's the best way to keep up. You're talking about the history on there. You're putting up historical photos like we've been looking at today, and just kind of letting everybody know what's going on.
Right. We have. The Facebook page is wonderful for families, spouses, to even just people in the community to keep up with what's going on at Goodyear. For instance, on May 24th, we're having a kids fishing rodeo for the children and grandchildren of our employees and our retirees at the Goodyear Lake right behind our plant. And then on the 26th, on Memorial Day, we're actually having a picnic for our employees and their families at the Gadsden plant. So I hope that everybody's seeing that on Facebook and they're getting really excited to spend Memorial Day weekend with us.
How do they find it on Facebook? What's the
It's Goodyear Gadsden, one word.
Okay, Goodyear Gadsden, one word. Find it on Facebook and learn more about the 85th anniversary of the Goodyear plant. Jackie, thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being with us as well. We'll see you next week here on East Alabama Today.